Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Brandy. Thanks for everybody for joining us today. We have a pretty cool show in store, so I want to get started. So I always open up tea time talking about the tea that I'm having today. Um, it seems appropriate that I'm going to be having a green tea today, considering we're going to be diving deep into the benefits of green tea. Now, I like to add a twist to things because after a while, when you're trying to stay committed to any type of journey, I believe that variety really helps make that all make sense. And so, the green tea that I'm having today is the green tea that we're going to be delving deep into a little later on the show called Sei Mee Tea. It's a green powdered tea, and I prepared it with a grapefruit and some mint. And it's really tasty. Now, I know some people may not be able to have grapefruit because of some medications don't go well with grapefruit. So if that's your situation, then you can swap the grapefruit out for any citrus fruit. So it will go great with an orange, a lemon, or a lime, and it just adds a different dimension to the tea. Now, I'm going to give you really surface benefits of what green tea can do can do for you. One of the things that we know green tea is really good for is giving us energy. It's also been known to help to burn fat. In addition to that, it's been known to help with helping your brain function. It has a lot of antioxidant properties, and yeah, so that's just the gist of it. But since we have a guest who is an expert in green tea, I want to bring her on as quickly as possible so we can delve in. So I'm gonna bring Kiyomi into the show so that we can chat about green tea. And if during this experience you have any questions, do not hesitate to put them in the chat, and we will answer them throughout the show or towards the end, depending on how things flow. So we want this to be super interactive. Hey, Kiyomi, welcome to Tea Time.
Hi, Brandy.
How
How
are
are
you?
you?
I'm good. How's your day been going?
Oh, pretty well. Busy, running, run. Yeah.
Yeah, seems like the the nature of life these days. So I'm trying to bring you in on Instagram. Can
Okay.
you? Yes. Did you see the invite come up yet?
Invite. You might want to do it again.
Ah, I see it. All right.
There you are. Yep. Join room.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm coming in.
Look at that little bit of technical feedback.
I have two cameras.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this is our first time going live in multiple places. Instagram people just went down. We are very intimate today.
Maybe my thought closet.
Oh man, I'm not sure this on Instagram. Are you guys getting a bunch of really crappy feedback? Let me know, please. Let's see if we could try to fix this.
I see a lot of people. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming.
All right.
Can you still hear me?
I can. Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Cool. So, tea time. Always fun.
Yeah, exactly. This is live. Yeah, everybody can see everything. Awesome.
Oh, great. Cool. So, Kiyomi, tell us about yourself.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna dive in. So, for the people you don't know me, my name is Kiyomi, and I am native Japanese. I came to the U.S. about 27 years ago. It's been a long time, and I am so honored. And I'd love to be an American. I'm American for 12 years. Yes. So, yeah. Well, although I'm Japanese, I was not the green tea drinker. Something happened, in the meantime. So I'm going to tell you my green tea journey. Okay. So, that happened when my second child was born. Is it like echoing? Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit of an echo.
So should I mute
Yes.
Okay, great.
I think that was the I think that fixed it.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah. Now you're going. Yeah,
Okay.
testing. Okay, so anyway, so when my second child was born, I was told my husband.
Kiyomi, I don't want this story to be lost on Facebook. You might be mute. If you could unmute, can you try unmuting on Facebook? Let's see if we can unmute you on the computer. I can hear you on Instagram, but I can't hear you on the other platform.
Okay.
So is it possible to turn your volume down on your phone?
On my phone. I'll try. Hello.
All right, I think we did it.
Okay, now I think I turned down all the way. Do you still hear me?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
perfect.
Mhm. Okay, so my story, right? Okay, so when I had the labor of my second child, my mother told me my father is in a critical condition from his lung cancer, and I was told only like 3 weeks life left. Now, of course, I was shocked, and then just a few weeks afterwards, when my husband came home, he said, I was diagnosed cancer too. And and it turned out to be, 50-50 survival chance, stage 3 colon cancer. And I was really scared because, I had 2 young children and I didn't have job. I was really scared. I didn't know what kind of, journey was waiting for me, treatment and all that stuff. So I was really scared, and I went into the depression. Obviously, I was often sobbing and crying. And one day, my 2-year-old boy stood behind me, and he patted my shoulder. I was sobbing with my newborn baby in my arms and is crying, and I didn't even realize, my boy was standing behind me. And then he gently patted me, and "Mommy, it's okay, mommy." Yeah, that moment I thought, I need to move on strongly because of my son, because of my baby, and because of my husband. And so when my husband came back from hospital, I got a lot of green tea.
Now, what was it about green tea that made you go, okay, both my dad and my husband have cancer. Let me go and let me explore green tea as the solution.
Yeah,
Like, how did you get there?
right. So because I'm Japanese, when I was in Japan, a lot of studies came out about that time. It was like 20 years ago, 20 years ago. And green tea production area, famous area is called Shizuoka Prefecture. It's like, state, but we call it we call it prefecture. And Shizuoka Prefecture is the number one production of the green tea at that time. And somebody noticed, in that area, cancer rate was really low. So that was the trigger of the cancer study. And they studied, and then they realized probably green tea. So what is in the green tea? And they studied, and then they found out one major prominent antioxidants called catechins. So before I left the country, I knew those, articles, and they were talking about, you have to drink a lot of green tea, and then you get a lot of health benefits, like increasing metabolism, and then cancer treatment, cancer prevention, blah blah blah. Right. So I remember that. So I went to the grocery store and I got so many boxes of the tea bag teas.
Mhm.
And that time, that was only tea available, green tea available at the grocery store. So I was kind of determined, we're going to do everything to heal you, right? And I told my husband, now you have to drink this green tea, 10 tea bags tea a day, because the science said that time, you have to drink like 13 teacups, freshly brewed each time to get the enough cardigans. So I told him so, and he didn't say anything at the first day, second day he did, and then the third day he looked at me in front of the sink. I still remember, and he put his hand on my shoulder, right like that, and then, honey, honey, I can't do this anymore. I'd rather die. Can you imagine? He said that. And I didn't think, that much humor left in him. After all that treatment and, the sad days, we never laughed, we never smiled actually, that time. And then all of a sudden, I didn't know what to think about it. So that pushed me into the really, really serious moment. Okay, I gotta find out the tastier tea, more potent tea, right? I started to research about green tea, what makes most potent and what makes tea tastier, and it's gotta be both, right? So that my husband is gonna drink. And then guess what? I found it.
Got it. Now,
I still
the tea that you went to the store and got was the bag tea. It was a leaf tea, right? And you ended up doing research and finding a ground version, or is this maybe I'm at ground version of the tea. Now, are we saying that number one, the ground version of the tea has more potency, hence the reason he didn't have to have like 13 tea bags at a time? And are we also saying that it tastes better than the leaf tea as far as green tea is concerned?
Exactly. So, you can think about it, when you cook spinach, for example, when you boil spinach, probably most of the people don't do that anymore, but when you boil them, the spinach leaves, drain the color green, so the water becomes green color, but you don't drink green color water and, throw away the spinach, right? Why? Because the nutrition stay in the spinach.
Right.
With green tea, we are doing the opposite. It's got the distinctive flavor and experience from brewed tea. I admit it, and I love them. I love those, green tea, brewed teas. But if you are drinking the catechin antioxidants from the green tea, and that is the main goal for you to drink green tea, you better consume all the tea leaves. And that time I found the study showing if you are brewing the tea leaves, the first brew is going to give you about 10% of the nutrition from the tea leaf. And then the second brew, about 8%. And the third time, not much. So basically, even if you are brewing the tea leaves so many times and so long and, really pushing, squashing really hard, 80% of the nutrition stay in the tea leaf. That was one of my major discoveries. And tea leaf has so much more than catechin antioxidants. So, for example, vitamin A, vitamin E, those themselves are strong antioxidants, right, Brandy? And those two vitamins are not water soluble. They don't come out, right? And vitamin C is water soluble, but still only 30% come out. That's a shocking fact. Yeah, that's a shocking fact for me too. And other vitamins like vitamin K and trace minerals, as you know, zinc is important for your immunity.
Yes.
Magnesium, manganese, and chromium, copper. Copper is, trace mineral is hard to get, and you don't want to get too much, but you don't want to have it deficient. You don't want to be deficient. So those trace minerals are in the tea leaves. when you are drinking a tea like that, Brandy, you are taking all the precious trace minerals.
Got it. Cool.
Right.
So everybody that's on right now, if you guys could let us know in the chat if you're green tea drinkers, like if you like green tea. I'm very curious to see if people like green tea. Why do they drink it, and if they like it. I'm really curious to see that as we go into the next part of our conversation. So a lot of times, especially with green tea, some of the things that we people may shy away from it because they're concerned about the caffeine in it.
Right.
So can you talk about a little bit about caffeine and green tea and how that affects you?
Right. Okay. So the caffeine is natural component of the tea, green tea. Green tea is made from a plant called the Camellia sinensis, and the Camellia sinensis is the plant, or the true teas are made from green tea, black tea, oolong tea, white tea, and pu'er tea. And the growing environment and also the post-harvest treatment makes the distinguished aroma, flavor, and nutrition profile. But anyway, so the caffeine is naturally in the tea leaf, but green tea is least processed tea leaf, the caffeine content is the lowest compared to other teas like oolong tea, black tea, even white tea, actually. And so, anyway, still green tea has caffeine. And the reason I like to recommend you to drink the low caffeinated green tea is because the catechin antioxidant metabolizes very quickly. That's another discovery of my research. And when you ingest it, Brandy, you are drinking it, and then the nutrition catechin antioxidants go into your bloodstream, right? And a couple of hours later, that catechin antioxidants in the bloodstream goes really high, like hitting the peak. And then afterwards, gradually, those antioxidants are used up and then go out from the system. And that whole cycle takes like 3 to 4 hours. So naturopathic doctors that use our tea, edible green, sencha green tea powder, they tell their patients, please drink every 3 to 4 hours, so that your system has fresh antioxidants all the time to battle, to fight cancer cells, right? And if you are doing that every 3 to 4 hours, the caffeine content just, adds up quickly, even if it's a low content, right? So that's why we recommend the sencha powder naturally, because naturally low in caffeine and also higher in catechin antioxidants. And I'll tell you probably, I'll explain to you kind of separately, but that's the main reason. If you want to get health benefits from green tea, you like to drink often, not a whole lot all in at once, often.
So multiple, kind of like the concept of people who eat multiple small meals throughout the day to keep their metabolism active. So it's the
Oh,
same
yeah,
concept with green tea. You want to take
right.
consistent small doses throughout the day for maximum benefit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, got it, got it. I will say the first time that I had this tea, and it was, I drunk it in the morning on an empty stomach, I really did feel it going through my body, which was a really interesting experience. I have to say, like I literally felt it like moving through my brain and through my like bloodstream, which was something that I don't think I've ever experienced with green tea, which I thought was just an interesting, yeah, I totally was really interesting for me when I had it.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
want to talk about also,
Hmm.
like you talk about sencha, like green tea, you talk about sencha.
Hmm.
Matcha tea is something that's also really,
Hmm.
popular now. Like we hear a lot about matcha. I don't know if we hear a lot about sencha, like people just call it green tea, right? So
Yep.
can you talk about the differences between matcha and sencha?
Yeah, Brandy, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, thank you. So matcha is very famous as powdered green tea, and my interpretation of this popularity comes with the ease of the use and also actually the color, the beautiful green color. Um, but if you know how matcha is grown, you can um, you can tell the difference between the sencha and the matcha. Okay, so matcha uses the green tea leaf grown in the shade, and the sencha green tea is using a tea leaf grown in the full sun. And as you can imagine, that much difference of the sun exposure creates the difference in the nutrition profile in the tea leaf. And why the why the farmers grow matcha in the shade is to increase a particular component called theanine. Theanine is one of the amino acid like protein, and it's the source of the wonderful kind of euphoric, great umami flavor. So that theanine, yeah, and Japanese green tea wants to have a lot of umami or theanine, and the farmers discovered when you shade the tea plant, Camellia sinensis, the plant increases the theanine. So that's why they shade the tea plant.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, the shading period actually increases the caffeine and also the green pigment called chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm.
So chlorophyll is the green pigment, and also it's the source of the plant creates the energy and the food for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they have to get the sunshine for the photosynthesis. That is the system. That is the mechanism. The plant itself makes the food and the energy for them to grow, right? But they didn't have enough sunshine, so instead of the sun they increased the number of chlorophyll.
Mm.
That's why shade grown tea leaf matcha is really vibrant green, but it doesn't have anything to do with the potency of catechins.
Got it.
Yeah,
It's really
so
interesting.
mhm. And actually deprived of sun um, means unfortunately not as much catechins as the counterpart, the green tea grown in full sun. Why? Because the plant uses theanine to create the catechins. So when the sunshine hits the tea leaf, the tea plant is trying to protect themselves from UV radiation, and they convert the theanine into catechin antioxidants. Yeah. So matcha has more theanine, but unfortunately not as much catechins. But it's tastier, it's sweeter, and it's kind of full of umami flavor. But sencha has more catechins and lower in caffeine naturally, and also it's a little more astringent, and the color is yellowish green. But once again, it's not the potency, right? The color is not indication of the potency at all. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Just out of curiosity, I know we've never talked about this, but any idea why matcha has become like the more popular one, just in general, just from a
Sure. Yeah.
trend standpoint?
I'd be happy to share my interpretation. Okay. So, coming from Japan, Japanese culture, I know matcha matcha has been used for traditional Japanese tea ceremony, right? And that tea ceremony is tied with Zen, Zen monks and the cultural deep history of samurai warriors, because the tea ceremony was created for those higher class, like 15 centuries. That was the beginning of the tea ceremony, and so if you hear about that history, that cultural background is itself is very cool, and it's got a significant meaning, for Japanese culture, for us, right? So when Japanese merchant market matcha to American people or Western people, matcha is the best. Matcha is the coolest tea for you. Matcha is the highest quality for you, right? And when Western people, American people hear that, because they are always thinking about green tea equals healthy food, right? It's good for you. So when you hear, matcha is the best for you, automatically interprets, oh, matcha is the healthiest for me, right? So that is the kind of lost in lost in translation process. And also another important fact is matcha is actually in powder form and actually in healthier than brewed tea, for the reason I already explained. Mhm. But they didn't explain. The Japanese merchant didn't explain. By the way, matcha is higher in caffeine and not as much catechins compared to the sencha powder. And the sencha powder is pretty, new product. After scientists discovered what catechins are, and what increases catechins in a tea leaf, that is the only time they started to make sencha powder, and organic sencha powder is still really rare. Mhm. Okay.
There's a little bit of a delay. I don't know if you guys can still hear us on the other side. If you can put it in the chat, that would be great. I don't know if it's just from my end, but
No, Brandy, I think my internet is very slow. I can see Instagram working still, but uh, I'm sorry.
listen, technology guys, this is what happens when you go live, right? Sometimes it's not always a perfect science, but we will continue to make it work. Give me a second. I know
Yeah, okay.
Instagram is still fine, but there's definitely a little bit of an issue with the other platforms. And I think what's funny, it might actually be my internet. So Instagram is good. Everybody on Instagram does agree.
Yes, yes.
Still able to see the show. So in the meanwhile, we're getting everything set back up for the other outlets. Drop in a question, drop in the comments if you, like I say, if you drink green tea, your experience with it, and any questions that you may have about it.
Yes.
Oh, cool. That's the tribe. Sencha tea. Great. Cool. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's good. I drink a lot of drink a lot of green tea in my life, just in general. My first job was at a Japanese printing company. Like my first growing job was at a Japanese printing company, and so because of that early introduction to Japanese culture, like green tea just kind of became a part of my, just things that I kind of drink a lot of. And I want to say, like, this is really close to and when I say really close, like, it may be better because I can kind of control the potency of it. But the Japanese tea that I would get when I would go to like traditional Japanese restaurants, where it had like definitely a different body and flavor than just the bag tea that I would get from.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's got the different profile of the taste, because you are tasting when you brew the tea, you are tasting something that came out from the tea leaf into the water, not everything in there, as I explained. So that's what you're tasting, and some people really love that clean, lighter flavor. But at the same time, some people love that depth in the flavor, kind of fuller, more body, as you said. And also, maybe more caffeine and more theanine, that, great balance. create, that sustainable energy, and that might be, something, you might enjoy too. And that's the case. That's fine. Enjoy the, cleanest, one, the safest organic, make sure certified organic and, lead free, those matcha would be wonderful. But if you are drinking for chronic health challenges like, cancer, diabetes, all that, the chronic problem, you might want to drink it like, every day or all day long. And in that case, too much caffeine is not going to work for you.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you make a great point. I think especially in general when we're dealing with like health issues. I mean, that's the one thing I always tell people when you're deciding, like what makes the most sense, especially when I work with people who explore like plant-based living, and people want to know, like, do you have to go all in, or can you kind of tiptoe? And I always say, it kind of depends on what it is you're dealing with, right? So if you have a chronic illness, some type of degenerative disease that you're trying to fight and get back to homeostasis, right? You might want to be a little more aggressive with your protocol, right?
Exactly.
You want to go all the way clean, have it as consistently as possible until you get rebalanced. But if you're just, trying to be well and maintain your health, you might not have to be as aggressive. So that's I love that you say that about using green tea for health, because it's the same, I think, with any type of shift that we're trying to do.
Right, exactly. And Brandy, you, like you said the other day on the other short live, the green tea is the one of the simplest and easiest food you can accommodate into daily diet. So I have to turn it down again.
That might be me.
Still making a echo. Okay. Okay. Well, so anyways, if those people's concern is, in order to make a deep dive, then too much drastic change in my everyday life. With tea, it's not the case. It's very easy. Yeah, just put the powder and maybe hot pot, next to each other on the counter, and then it's always available. Yeah, so I can demonstrate how easy it is to make a tea.
That's a perfect segue into you. How simple it is to make. I think I'm gonna set that up now. Organically, not perfectly.
Serendipity.
So, if you could kind of just show us how simple it is to
Sure.
sencha, and go back on somebody in our comments on Instagram may have missed the top, so you could also just kind of reiterate like quickly some of the health benefits of sencha, like sencha tea in particular.
Okay, so do you want to go with the benefits first then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, as Brandy said, catechin antioxidants, that's the major prominent antioxidant you want to get from green tea, and the green tea is one the richest source of the catechin antioxidants. If you eat the apple, especially the skin, then you get a little bit of catechin, something like that. But if you're drinking green tea, that's the easiest and probably most palatable way. So anyway, the health benefits of the catechin antioxidants, it's like increasing metabolism. That's one thing, but it's the I have trouble with just focusing on the reduction of the weight because that should be just outcome of the healthy lifestyle. If you're eating well, in the healthiest way, and then you feel better, and then you just eventually you are losing weight, and right. So it's like, I don't want to go sideways, but it's like a language acquisition. So if the language itself becomes a goal, it's really hard. But if you want to learn something else, like cooking or whatever, and using the language, and then the language acquisition comes along, and it's going to be quicker to learn second language. So anyway, catechin antioxidants increase metabolism, but don't just, think that way. I'm drinking green tea, but, I didn't lose weight. That is not the issue. The great thing is happening inside of you. So don't look at the scale, and then make a judgment of the green tea. Okay.
Yeah, and I want to interject there in general. I think that's a great point in shifting your lifestyle habits in general, right? So,
Right.
Like, weight is a cool why, but I don't know if it's a strong enough why, simply because a lot of times when we're just using weight as our litmus, it doesn't necessarily work the way that you think, right? So if you're working out, you may actually end up weighing more because muscle weighs more than fat. And so if you're using like the pounds
Right.
in order to say, oh my goodness, is this working? It might not be
Yes.
the best way to gauge it. So
Yes.
like you're saying, something
Yes.
like I feel better.
Right.
I have less inflammation.
Exactly.
I have more energy.
Right.
So using things outside of weight to
Right.
I love like thinking that way.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, Brandy. So yeah, that is a strong why, but you want to think a little one step further why. So why you want to lose weight? Because you're going to feel better and you're going to have more energy. And then why? Because I can go out with my friend more often, or I can go out with my grandchildren. That's my age. Or I can do more of the favorite sports, like playing tennis or whatever, right? So those are the actual ultimate why. I think beyond that, the goal, right? Why you want lose weight is actually what, because I want to have this kind of life. That is the ultimate why, I think. So the green tea offers you more of the benefits. So for example, as long as you are living, you are creating byproducts called free radicals, and free radicals are always in your body, in your system. But when it becomes too much, and then it starts to attack you, like loss of the homeostasis, like Brandy, you just said. So when you lose the good balance, homeostasis, and then free radicals is going to become a real hazard, toxic, and it should start to create all kinds of problems, like the inflammation, more faster aging, and maybe cancer cells. So free radicals are not the good one, and the catechin antioxidants neutralize them. And also catechin antioxidants are great for cognitive health, like Brandy, you said. And one of the studies show actually green tea antioxidants break down the aluminum accumulated in the brain cells. That is considered as the major cause of the dementia, for example. And that catechin antioxidant breaks it down. And also catechin antioxidants are angiogenesis. That means encourages the new generation of the healthy blood system. But at the same time, when you have the cancer cells, the catechin antioxidants cut down the blood cells feeding the cancer cells. So what that means is catechin antioxidants can tell which cells are good and which cells are bad. And that ability exists for the gut health too. So catechin antioxidants reaches into the colon, and then it increases the good gut bacteria, but kills the bad bacteria. But at the same time, catechins know what is the homeostasis, and our gut health is very, very complicating, and it needs to have bad bacteria also to have the healthy signals, right? So catechin antioxidants do not eradicate the bad bacteria either. they know when to stop. So that is the amazing part of the catechin antioxidants. And so catechin antioxidants health benefits are not one way. It's always holistic, and also it's like smart ally. They are not just a killing, or just increasing. They know what is the homeostasis.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's like having these conversations just about how smart, I don't know, like the simplest word is just how smart like the body is, like when
Exactly.
it gets the right tools,
Mm-hmm.
how it knows instinctually like what to do. Like you say, it's not just going to go in and just kind of flood
Mm-hmm.
the body and start killing all the good stuff too. It's like kind of balance it out, and that process and how the body works is always very fascinating and interesting to me. Yeah.
Wonder of nature, and our human body is part of the nature, and the green tea health benefits are just amazing. But you can imagine if you are choosing the cleanest and the good, the vegetable and the fruit, you are every bite, you are creating a cascade of positive, signaling systems, the reactions. So just one bite, somebody said, do I have to dive in the whole, commit myself into the whole thing? No, just start with every bite, one bite at a time, and and one bite does not betray you. It's really happening.
Yeah, and what's the worst thing is that you don't like the bite, right? And then you either, depending on your why and what it is you're trying to do, you either continue to bite until you get used to it, because that happens too. Sometimes it's just a matter of us needing to readapt our taste buds. And then sometimes it's just a matter of you don't like it, and then you try one of the many other alternatives that exist, or you figure out a way to make it more palatable, because there's a way to make almost everything taste good.
And I think
if your why strong enough, taste doesn't even matter.
Yeah, and I think if you don't know, if you have commitment to keep going, and then it might be good idea to have a coach like you, and occasionally periodically the coach will check you in. How do you feel now? It's like compared to 2 weeks ago, compared to 1 month ago, how do you feel? Oh my gosh, I didn't realize, but now you asked me, and then this and that have happened, something like that. So I think that will help if you can. I'm not a journal person, but if you can do the journal, that might help too.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Tracking is always in general, like we forget a lot. So if you don't document it, you might not know. And especially when you're shifting healthy habits, just like keeping track of it is definitely something that helps, because there may be things that you don't even realize you're consuming that might be affecting you. And also when you track it, you can start to see the patterns that may actually come with it. So I always like to say you track your food and you track your feelings to see like the correlation to how you feel energy wise to the food or drink that you're putting into your body.
Right. Yeah. We don't notice the gradual change, but if you stop and compare, and then you notice the positive change. So I think, the good habit.
And we have one more question before we do the tea making, which is
okay.
Recommend to drink first thing in the morning or after a meal? Like, is there a recommendation?
Okay, so with or without meal. Okay, so that is actually if you are anemic without meal, because the catechin antioxidants tend to bind with iron, and you don't want to lose every chance to intake iron. So please make it separate. And also the supplement, don't take supplement with green tea. So that is a basic rule. And if you can take green tea on empty stomach, that would be great. But some people are really sensitive to a substance called tannin, and that is in a tea, all kind of tea, not just green tea, black tea, oolong tea, purple tea, and white tea too. So if you're sensitive to tannin, that might nauseate you. So instead of on a empty stomach, you can have just one cracker or just a little bit of nuts, and then you can avoid that feeding. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Well, that's a great tip that you just said. If you're anemic, you shouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
green tea. Well, you should have it on an empty stomach so that it doesn't pull out the iron that you
Right,
need to
right.
keep in your body. That's a great tip. I didn't know that.
But at the same time, it's if you're not anemic, it's okay. The absorption level is not much affected. The study says. And if you think about Japanese people, as you know, Brandy, they drink green tea all the time with meal, and the Japanese people are not really high in anemic either. So yeah. So yeah. Okay, so should I make tea?
Yes.
Okay, so here is the sencha powder, and we have regular and water processed sencha powder. And as I explained, it's kind of yellowish green. This is normal. This is the way it should be. And if it's too much green, I know some. I'm sorry. I have to tell you that experience. So I got the sample from a company, one of the Chinese companies, and that came with the kind of the certificate, and it was kind of green, kind of green. It didn't look like really natural to me from the appearance, but anyway, by mistake or not, the certificate came with written in Chinese, and it was one of the ingredients was actually the color pigment.
No way.
It was shocking. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, the source really does matter.
So yeah, you have to inquire, before you buy, if you can, you can email the company, and if you don't hear from them, that's one indication. It's not the indication, no excuse. Even if the company is big, you should hear from them. Okay, so this is amount you make 1 cup, 1/4 teaspoonful, and just put it in a bowl. Okay, now I'm gonna do it like on the traditional way. So I'm gonna use the traditional that
The whisk.
whisk. Yes.
The bamboo whisk.
Yeah, bamboo whisk. Okay, so if you have it, you should enjoy it. So that's why I'm gonna show you. Okay, so the powder is in there first. Always first, please. And then about 6 to 8 ounces water here. And then, okay, my platform was set for the laptop, so it's not really tall enough. But okay, so often I see a lot of people hold the whisk like this from side. Don't do that because it's really hard on your wrist. So instead, just come down from the top, and then you can whisk really easy. See, it's easier than I can even do it. Yeah, so just like that. I don't know if you can hear, but
Yes, we can.
and when you do that, you can smell the fresh green aroma.
Yeah, it's so funny. As you're stirring, I'm smelling like some of mine, and it's it kind of feels like I'm smelling yours as you're mixing it, but it's the cup that I have right here.
Do you enjoy it?
But it is very potent, like scent wise. It smells like very like earthy. I guess is the best
Right.
way to really
Yeah.
describe it.
Because I was just holding, and it was not the right height. It didn't really whisk up, but still, okay, it's not really strenuous. You can just do like that. So that was how you do this. That's it. Okay.
Now, what's the, suppose you don't have a bamboo whisk, what would be the next best thing to
Next best thing.
Yes.
Right. I have it. I have right here. Okay, so I'm gonna do the best next best thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so one serving go in. All right, so it's right here. Okay, and I'm going to add. Okay, so I stopped right here about the 1/4 of the cup or 2 ounces, and then voila, modern technology.
The good old hand whisk, yes.
Yeah, good old hand whisk. And you can just stir with spoon, but I have to tell you, you're gonna see the settlement because the green tea powder is natural leaf or natural vegetable. Even if you chop it really fine, it's not gonna disappear. It's not gonna dissolve in the water, right? So the tea powder is suspending in the water. And when you stir well, the suspension lasts longer. So, you're going to see less settlement. So, this device really works compared to, of course, spoon. And, okay, I'm going to.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's.
So it looks like you recommend investing in some fancy tool regardless. It's going to be the whisk where you have to
Yes.
manually do it, or a cool, what is it? A frother / hand.
Oh, yeah, right.
To mix it all together.
Oh.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you like you say with the spoon, you're gonna mix it in, but it's gonna keep settling to the bottom. So
Right.
your last sip, you want to just kind of like take a final stir and just kind of drink it all up, because you don't want to waste any of that good green tea.
Right.
Powder,
and remember, always you can add more water too. So.
yes. Oh, that's right. That's a good point too.
And then. So after you whisk it up, you can add some water and make it to the full cup, 8 ounces. Yep. And like you said, after a while, if you see settlement just sway or with spoon, you can stir it again, and then you can enjoy to the last drop. And as you said, I have some addition here. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to add lemon. Like
lemon.
this.
Yes, lemon and green tea is a great combination. I love those. That combo. Lemon and mint are probably my go-tos when it comes to adding flavor to green tea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you add
And
both
easy,
lemon and mint? Do you use both?
I have,
That's
yes.
awesome. That's great. I'm sure it's delicious. And you can add a little bit of ginger too.
Oh yes, that's a great combo too.
Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect combinations for green tea.
Yes. And okay. I also want to talk about the chai because we sell chai. This is 100% organic, and just a tiny bit you can add, and then you can make potent real chai tea, but no nasty obscure sweetener. Some chai is just amazingly thick and so sweet. I don't know why you can drink that. It's just so scary. So just a tiny bit, you can add it, and then that's.
And what is that? Is that an eighth teaspoon?
Brandy, you asked me. Okay, I'm gonna read. It says drop.
A drop.
Yeah. This was given by my friend, and the biggest one says pad. Next one is dash. You know this?
Oh, I love them. Oh,
Yeah.
They don't even have the method. They just have like a dash of drop. That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, so just a pinch, really small amount will do, So this little thing lasts a long time.
Yeah, when we were talking about this, everybody that knows Brandy on Tea Time, like I'm a chai snob. Love it to death, and I'm always trying to find like a respectable chai. What I thought was interesting because I'd never thought to do it was like adding it to green, like adding those spices to green tea. So I still haven't done it yet. So I'm definitely going to give
You
that
love
a
it.
try because it's interesting.
Yeah, you love it. Yeah, it's like, why I didn't do that before kind of thing. It's so easy and it's so flavorful. And with chai, I think, lemon slice or orange slice goes really well. Actually, orange will go really well. So now, if you are living in a warm part of the country, you might want to enjoy the cold tea too. And so, if so, you don't have to use hot water to make a cup of tea. You just put the tea powder directly in a water bottle. It's about 1.5 cup here. So, and then shake it up, and that's it. And then if you like to go fancy, you can pour it over ice, right? Okay, so I have ice here, but good.
I love how ice is considered fancy. You want to get
Ta-da! I have full equipment here. Okay, so I kind of wanted to add the color, so the kiwi and orange, and oh, let's pour it in front of the camera. Ta-da! And then, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it. Cheers, everyone! Cheers!
I'm like almost gone. Yes, this was a really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks everybody enjoyed. And if anybody's wondering, somebody in the chat says, how do we get these teas? So there's a special link. We get 5% off if you use brandy.com/green tea. It's going to take you to a page
Great.
to be able to get the green tea at 5% off. Just make sure when you go, there's a list of different practitioners on the page.
Mhm.
So you want to find my image. It's Brandy. You literally scroll down the page, find it, click on Brandy,
Mhm.
and then you get 5% off on any of the teas that you purchase.
Exactly.
The ones that we talked about today were the sencha tea, which is the green tea. They have a caffeinated version, they have a decaf version, and there's also the chai powder that like I'm really like curious to check out simply because I'm a chai junkie, so that's something that definitely into. And somebody asked if you could mix it with smoothies. The answer to that question is yes. You can totally mix this powder in with smoothies. And as far as the reason, I think we want to close out with the answer to this question. You mentioned when you were talking about taking the green tea with iron, or like to kind of not taking it with iron, but taking it on an empty stomach versus taking it with food.
Mhm.
You mentioned about how you shouldn't take green tea with supplements. Can you tell us why?
Okay, so because catechin antioxidants are actually binding with the iron or other nutrients, possibly, like protein, okay, like protein from the milk. So they bind up, and then some studies I read are saying they bind up and then eventually spread, and then the catechin antioxidants start to work again. Those are the actual studies I read, but at the same time, majority of the studies say because they bind up with iron, the iron absorption is inhibited because, okay, so they are not absorbed. to the system. And interestingly, this fact is applied to other potent juice too. If you drink polyphenol-rich juice and coffee, they bind up with iron too. You know, why doctors don't tell that? Why other people?
Well, you know,
Yeah,
that's a whole other tea time. We want to go into doctors in there.
but anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't want to cause a problem, trouble. But anyway, that is the reason. You know, they bind up, and then you know your system is not absorbing that iron. You know, particular the trace minerals you want.
Got it. And so that's the case. So it's just best, it seems, that with any, because of the catechins,
Catechins, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of how they work in the body, we don't want to take any type of supplements with them, because we don't want them to either be absorbed or just not have the best chance possible to do what they do in the body.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't
We
want to
don't want
mix
them
up.
fighting with the,
Right.
with the other things.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, guys. Well, Kiyomi, this
Yes.
was great.
I had
So much
fun.
Like, we went all around the ball very much. You opened up, you shared like your story, how we got here, which was cool. We dug deep into like the different types of green tea, matcha versus sencha,
Mm-hmm.
the benefits of them, and you managed to make green tea 3 ways. And like in this segment, which was good. You got ice green tea, cold green tea, hot tea with the bamboo whisk, and with the electric whisk.
Hey.
We did all these good things too.
You know,
For the comments, the people that watched it, they had fun. They enjoyed the conversation. So
I really liked it.
For joining me.
Mm-hmm. You know, this is.
We talked about like different things that you'll do as far, different. We'll definitely be back. Figure out some other things to dig into.
Yeah.
And also like ground tea versus leaf tea, which I thought, which makes sense as far as why like the ground one has the most potency and the most flavor,
Right.
but we don't see it that often. So it's just kind of it was kind of nice to dig deep into the difference between leaf tea versus powdered tea, health wise and flavor wise, during today's time. So thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you. I hope this. You guys see it. You saw it. So very easy to make. Very easy to make a variation. So I hope you will adopt green tea health into your life.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play around with some possible like recipes for green tea. I'm thinking about a chocolate green tea, something for like next month, because it's St. Patrick's Day. So green seems like the way to go.
You're thinking.
My green recipes that I'm 100% sure will be using green tea to get that color.
Good idea, and it's easy to make mocktail too, and it's gonna be fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of mocktails, so you've been doing great segues with it. So mocktails and munchies is going to be something that's I'm going to be hosting on March the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned for details about that. And that's the thing, like maybe we will do a green tea mocktail. It's in March. Yeah, let's think about that. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's make it more fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Inspiration. Cool, everybody. Well, thanks again for joining us for Tea Time. If you are interested in getting any of the sencha teas, any of the green teas that we talked about tonight, you can go to brandy.com and /green tea, brandy.com/green tea, and you're going to be able to get a 5% discount off of the teas that we talked about, or anything from the site. You can get it there. When you go to the site, you're going to see a list of practitioners click on
We sell this too.
and you're gonna be able to get that 5%.
Yeah.
Oh, they sell the cool.
Yeah, so 5% off.
So
Yep.
it makes it easier. So like he only showed in her demo, you have the option to do the manual whisk, which will hold from the top, which gives you more easy access to the to moving your wrist. Or the actual electrical whisk where you just hit the button. You guys have those on the site. Cool, guys. This was lovely. Can't wait to come back with Kiyomi.
Me too.
With you guys. And until the next time, remember to keep it simple. What does that mean? Remember to smile, inhale, meditate, play, laugh, and of course eat. Until next time, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care, Brandy. Bye.